write tracks for Steve Swift reviews. He punched me twice in the face and asked for a duel. The pugilistic prophet with newbies diagnostics, like Scroobius Pip but less toxic. The UK comet shooting stars never lost it. It's 2025 and the internet still dies. Guys are chasing algorithms like a crack pipe high.
Like sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. And thankfully, those days are full of watching people getting punched in the face. This is the Bees of Boxing with Steve Swift. And no, I am not Steve. I'm Chris. Steve is the Sir Galahad-looking fellow, and I'm more the Sir Osis-looking fellow. Listen. Quick shout out before we get started here. I want to throw a shout out to Laz the Third for those beats that you hear in the background. If it wasn't for those things, it'd be a lot more boring. It's pretty cool stuff. Also, a quick shout out to Lil Brady's Recrap-O-Rama that you might see over on the Law page, on the channel, on all your podcast providers, giving you the full spectrum review of what's going on in combat sports and whatever's on his mind. And I want to tell you all now, be on the listen for the return of everybody's favorite high-pitched demon. K to the MF and J is coming back. He's excited to be back too, and we're excited to have him back. Now, like I said, this is the Bees of Boxing with Steve. And the question for you, Steve, okay, are you ready for this? I got to make sure that I get this right. Hold on. Let's just wind this down a little bit here. Okay. Let's do that because this the question is, Steve, did Boxer Ben's boxing on Ben the Boxer beat Ben's boxer boxing on the BBC? Nailed it! Oh,
yeah! You practiced that over and over again. I know you did.
I had to.
I also like your cirrhosis line. I bet you were waiting for weeks to do that one.
Well, it took a lifetime, actually. Yes. You haven't heard about the tag team? Sirloin of beef and cirrhosis of liver? Yes. The Royals. The Royals, they were called. Tremendous. Steve, how are you doing this week, my brother?
Well, as you say, it's been a bonanza of Brit boxing badassery.
You know what? It actually has. And for those of you that are listening to this on all of your podcast providers, thank you so much. Please continue to do so. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you're going to get to see, because this is, it was a full British weekend of boxing, and you're watching this and you might see the nice graphics that we have. And I decided that maybe we'd put a little something in here just for Steve to make him feel a little closer to home. That's right. A nice shot of Coronation Street for Steve to hang out in. I don't know if does that make you feel any better this week?
No, although I have been on that soap many times. So right, I have walked those cobbled streets.
Is this one a little bit more kin to your liking?
That's exactly the way it should be. Yes, tattered and torn.
Well, but there was a lot of things tattered and torn, including Ben Whittaker's house when he got home. But we're going to get into that in a second. All right, listen, we got a few things to talk about, all seriousness aside here. Like I said, we're going to find out if you want to rob somebody, best time to do it is if you see them on TV, because they're not going to be home. This looks like it had to have happened this weekend. What's next for Jamie TKV? After winning the BBBBC belt. And my big question for the day, who is it that y'all think is living rent-free in Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith's head right now? Wow, you might want to pull up a chair and listen to that one, because we're going to get into that. Now, Steve, it was British boxing at its finest. What was your take on all of this? Let's start with the BBC, the outing of young Ben Shalom after coming off of Sky Sports, going over to BBC. What did you think of the program itself? What did you think of the boxing? I have my thoughts on it. Let's start with yours.
I thought it looked really I think was pitched just right, in that it wasn't a big bang pyros. Look at this. Look at us doing all this. It was respectful. The boxer colours, the deep blue colours were beautifully done. I thought that the arena, the Derby arena, which of course is Fraser Clark's area, was full. I thought there was expectation in there, and two of those matches, the main event and another one, really stood out for me. And I thought that it was an excellent night. They had to be delighted, and Ben Shalom had to be delighted, because that main event was it was sloppy, as I think you have said, but sometimes you just want to see heavyweights bang.
You know, the timing, that whole fight timed out damn near perfectly for the timeline that the BBC was giving them for doing this show. It was almost pro wrestling-esque, I dare say. Everything I thought that they did show-wise was very nice. The only hiccup that I saw was there was slight hiccups at the beginning between the syncopation of the microphone of the announcer in-house with what you were getting over the TV. Big deal. That's nothing to do with the team itself. That is a broadcast thing, and that's on y'all, the BBC. You got to own up to that. Now, the product itself, fantastic. Quick shout out to Francesca, either way, Hennessy. You're going to remember that last name. Hennessy. Say it with me, Steve. Hennessy.
Hennessy.
This young fighter, 7-0 after last night. I mean, she came in a ball of thunder. The energy that she had coming in, it was a perfect fight to start off this whole card, I thought. You couldn't ask for a more bubbly, more personable fighter to come in, and she delivered. And it wasn't like she was going up against some scrub. 22-2 fighter, Slavic. They're ready to fight the whole thing. And Francesca Hennessy came out and delivered. I was impressed to hell with her outing. What did you think?
Fantastic. I mean, she even, although she got caught the first time she tried it, did the I'm bending down to Jack in a Box to punch you. She did that later on. It was one-way traffic, more or less, although it wasn't set up, to be a where you fall down quickly fight, as another event might have been. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But I thought that it was set up to challenge her, and she showed fantastic speed and resilience and shot selection. She was in and out quickly. Beautiful work. She had incredible poise.
You know what else she had? And if this was one of those shows that worked blue, you'd say she gave great head movement, because she did. Unbelievable head movement. Her ability to dodge in and out of punches, it looked good, but always kept her hand up. Always kept her hand up tight. She worked very well. I'm excited to see what happens with this young lady and how she progresses, because women's boxing has come a long way, Steve. It's come a hell of a long way. So I'm excited about that one. Now, the main event. The main event, I thought when it started, I was like, oh no. Oh no. Did somebody forget to wake Jamie up for this? The main event, Fraser Clark, the guy, everybody, you look at it. If you look at it on paper or on pictures, this was Fraser Clark's fight to lose, not to win, to lose. And that's exactly what I thought happened, because he came out and put it on Jamie. Jamie TKV came out looking like he was half asleep, like he didn't want to be there, and Fraser Clark put it on him. And lo and behold, all of a sudden, Jamie came to life, like he does, and took the back end of this fight. And the unfortunate reality for me was Fraser Clark should have been, he was out on his feet. I don't know about you, but if that fight would have been stopped, I would have been okay with it. But I don't know what they were going to do about time. They would have had time to fill then.
Yes. And but they could have talked to Fraser Clark afterwards, and they didn't have time to do that. But there's a couple of things. It was right. Let me just say that this event was perfect for Boxer and Ben Shalom, because that main event was superb. You're quite right. I mean, Jamie TKV came out. I mean, when I saw him, I thought, I mean, you never look honed. You're not Anthony Joshua, but I thought he looked fleshy, and I thought, I'm not quite sure you're going to be able to hold your own, particularly as Fraser Clark early on winged some superb shots in and landed. But I thought that Fraser Clark then thought, he got suckered into Jamie's game, which was, I fight really well from the inside. Come in and fight with me. And Fraser Clark did, and he wanted to do that. So that's a way to lose the fight. And he did. And that meant that that Jamie TKV was able to get the confidence to step off then and hit some lovely shots. You are right. In the 11th, Fraser Clark was out on his feet. He now the commentator, and I thought the commentary was a little. George Groves was fine, but Ronald, the main commentator, was explaining things to people who weren't boxers.
And listen, if anybody knows a thing or two about being knocked the F out, it's George Groves.
Yes, indeed. Do you know he was knocked out in front of 80,000 people by Carl Froch?
Get the what?
Well, he never mentions it, but he told me, he said, don't say anything. I'm going to be in trouble now for saying this, Tidster, because he said, don't mention it. I never mention it. Don't mention it. I don't need to mention it because, I've got, I'm happy with myself, so I don't need to keep mentioning it. Anyway, the commentator said it was lovely because his gum shield came out, Fraser Clark later on, and he didn't know where to go. And the ref said, leading him by the hand like a parent with a toddler. It was, and his team were also, his corner was saying, you got to show me something in the early going of this 12th round or I will throw the towel in.
They showed him something. They showed him the clock that said, we still have 4 minutes of TV to fill. That's what they showed him.
But the great thing about this is that not only did Jamie TKV win that bout, and actually he was the underdog here, but people really wanted that I really wanted it in a way because of the situation with David Adelaide, which we'll talk about in a bit. But he then, because he got some booze because it was in Fraser Clark's backyard, he leant into the heel perfectly. So he said, I came in and I beat your boy, and we'll do it again in London this time, and I'll beat him again. And he instantly leant into that heel. Perfect. This couldn't have gone better for Boxer, I don't think.
Well, I mean, apparently Jamie TKV has a background, has some knowledge in the world of professional wrestling. And they talked about it. So, I mean, he leans into it. It's very easy for him. And why not? Because he had to know going into this, he wasn't going to win over this crowd. There's no way in hell he was going to win over the crowd. So at the end of it, you might as well take the time. You have the camera on you. You might as well take the time to be like, okay, am I going to book the return on this, or am I going to set up for y'all to come at me? Bring me what you got. Because if I set up to say, bring me what you got, I'm putting myself up on the throne. I'm putting myself up higher. And now you've got to come at me, bro. And that's exactly what Jamie did. And it's a fantastic move because it sets up, now the first question has to be asked. Because negotiation time is going to get a little bit sticky in here because there's some, I'm going to say it, Steve. You Brits are fucking wild, man. When it comes to like your gangster shit and boxing. I'm just throwing it out there. This is an adult show, and that's exactly what's up. We're past the first 5-minute mark, so because the infighting is crazy, but they'll still be willing to do business with one another. And the business end of boxing is what makes these guys, and I mean these guys, I mean the promoters, that's what makes them money because they're not out there fighting. So they got to use their mouths. They, and some of them, I find that some of them, the best time to catch them for a comment is after one of their own fights. because they're all fired up. They're all full of piss and vinegar, and they just, I'll fight anybody myself. Yeah, stupid assholes. Listen, who do you think is next, though, for Jamie TKV? Because you have the obvious. Tell me that, and then I have a few choices.
Well, I mean, people, the great thing about this is that I podcasted about this earlier. Generally, there is a gap. So people go, well, we could fight any one of, and they'll name 40 people. And then it'll be, well, who's going to step forward? There's a vacuum. And then someone like Andre Ward, it's always Andre Ward, will come out and say, fight me. No, actually, he's a heavyweight. Fight me. He's a super heavyweight. Fight me.
And I'd still put my money on Andre Ward.
Yeah. and you lose impetus. But here, Ben Shalom has done, again, really good. It's perfect because he's got this ready-made crop of maybe three top three. I think the one people want to see is let's run it back. Let's run it back with Fraser Clark because it was a split decision. So let's run it back. Whether Fraser Clark will actually, he's not mentioned. I don't think he said anything. Whether or not he will continue in boxing, where he goes now, I don't know. Whether painted now, isn't it? There is David Adelaide because of the situation with last time Jamie lost to him because the ref tapped his hand and he thought, oh, there's a break, punch. And, that led to the end of the fight, really. So there's that. And then we've got the one that is quite interesting, which is Dave Allen. Now, Ben Shalom has said he wants Dave Allen. He would like Dave Allen. But Dave Allen is not a boxer fighter, is he? He's a matchroom fighter, isn't he?
He is an Eddie Hearn boy. Yes, you're absolutely right. And just coming off of a loss that even he himself was like, I didn't even show up for this fight. It seemed like, a big loss too. Like Makhmudov is a big dude trying to chop him down. Dave Allen did a fantastic job, but he's coming off of a big loss.
Yes, but he's very honest. And, those two have that honesty going on, Jamie TKV and Dave Allen. And Dave Allen is, I think, he hasn't said it, but, in my view, he's British champion material. And that's it, in my view, I think. Or he's not meat in the ring, but it's kind of, put him with Dave Allen. Let's see what happens.
Right.
And Eddie Hearn has said that words to the effect of, he's not rubbish this. So it's not something he's tossed out the possibility at all. But what he said is he won't do it at the BBC because there's no money, which is a line that Matchroom are playing at the moment.
I think. Do you think that, these promoters are using these boxers for their own beefs, obviously, and we're going to get into that in a bit, but let's talk about the challenges for the fighter himself, let alone who's going to work with who and what the split's going to be, because it's BBC and because I don't like you, because you won't let me into the club and all of the other stuff that goes along with it. David Allen is an automatic fit. The David Adelaide thing, automatically you've got a story there. And probably doing business with Frank Warren is going to be easier for Ben Shalom than doing business with Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith, because those two are like a tag team right now. But I'm going to say, he could keep it in-house. Give Reakpor a shot. There's a guy who looked fantastic on his last outing. Or call up Izzy. Call up Izzy and say, you know what? I want a Fury. That's right. Huey Fury, ladies and gentlemen, 31-3, Huey Fury. Why not? You want to make it British. You want to give a guy, and this helps to build Jamie TKV, because I don't think you give him David Allen right away. I think there's a lot more meat here between Eddie and Ben Shalom. Let's build this thing. Let's make this thing bigger than it already is. Screw it. You want to be pro wrestling, Eddie? Let's be pro wrestling. Ben, give me a call. Let's do this. I'll book it. I think it's great. Huey Fury.
Yes, and you're right that there are an awful lot of I call it the burgeoning British heavyweight section, don't I? And we're very lucky to have that. There's an awful lot of fighters who can't get the fights they might want at the moment in that group. So yeah, why don't you say, fancy a belt? Here's a Lonsdale belt, not the BBBBBBBOC belt, as you said, the Lonsdale British belt. So it's round the waist. It's an odd looking belt, to be honest.
Sure.
But it's around. It's odd. It's like a piece of elastic. It's a bit
but they
weird.
make good hoodies.
Yeah.
Lonsdale makes good hoodies.
but yes, they do. But it's not. I have to tell you. And it might upset you, but they're separate things. I'll have one of those belts, thank you. But yes, you could. I mean, there's a load of people in there. Sure. You know, the heavyweight world is people are waiting around to get their shot. Yeah. And you know, if you want a belt. And you're more likely to get the big fights if you've got a belt around your waist, even if it's the Lonsdale belt, which we in Britain really revere, but it's actually not. Then get it, have a go at it. And Jamie TKV has it could have been either of them, and it was a split decision. And Jamie TKV had a point taken off for a low blow, and the ref got involved slightly too much, I thought, but it was close. It was a split decision. And consequently, either of them would work. They've both got stories. Boxer did a lovely piece on both of them, which was beautifully done. All that mawkish piano music, ding, 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 for my kids, man. All that kind of stuff. They did all that, and here my kids. Because I saw the first one with Fraser Clark, and I thought it's all about family. And then they did the one with Jamie TKV, and it was about the wrestling. And my dad's got this wrestling school. And I thought, we're not going to have any kids. It's brilliant. There's no kids here. And then the last 5 minutes, it just caught, and there it was with 2 kids. I'm like, oh, okay, get it in then. But he has a story, as you say. He's a nice guy, and this could be something very special for Boxer. I know it sounds like I'm pushing Boxer at the moment, and I'm not pushing Boxer, but I like to see the little guy do all right, and that's what Ben Shalom is thought to be. And I don't like bullies,
especially right now. Now, before I get into that, I want to talk. I got a question about this fight though, because we've watched enough boxing. We've seen this time and time again. Why wasn't that fight stopped because of TKV's eye? Because that very well could have been stopped earlier. And we've seen fights stopped for less. Sometimes there's a little too much on the line. Ben Shalom had to come out and have an outing on this because, let's face it, Ben needed this because his golden boy is gone. Not only did his golden boy leave, his golden boy fought the same day in the same country for his most hated opponent, promoter, Eddie Hearns, right now. Now, before we get into the promoter stuff, let's talk about that fight. Because Ben Whittaker came out and did exactly what Ben Whittaker was supposed to do. He came out and starched Ben Gavazi in the first round. And everybody jumped up and down like this was the greatest thing since sliced bread. What did you think? What was your take on the whole thing and the giant blowjob that happened afterwards?
It isn't the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'll tell you that. I mean, we know what happens with boxing. And, there's an art to bringing on your young charge. And in this case, saying, well, he's now with Matchroom. and we're going to take him places that he hasn't been. And also, we're going to fight for a title, 5 more fights, and we'll get a title. They'll fight for one at least. And so you bring him on slowly, don't you? But I think that Eddie Hearn and his team did too good a job here. So Kavasi's not a journeyman, but
Nope.
And let's be clear, Ben Whittaker was superb. His combos were fantastic and quick and crisp and very nice, but he needs more time and he needed more rounds.
If Ben Whittaker would have gone to round 3 in this fight, I would have probably changed it, because he did what you expected him to do. When you think about Ben Gavazi, like, he's fighting guys that have a record of 38-52, 4-10, 11-16, 13-17. He fought a guy who had a record of 11-52, and then fought him again right afterwards when he was 11-53. That guy now has a record of 42-85, Steve. So when you think about the guy, so everybody's like, oh, but he's 19-1. He's a top tier boxer. No, I think that right there is the epitome of this padding system that we see consistently in the world of boxing. And everybody's talking about it even last night with the blowjob of Ben Whittaker afterwards. Oh, he's only got 11 fights, and we're going to do this at a progression, but he's going to stay working. Yes, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Stay working. But right now, he's sitting there saying that he's got the skills of a 175er, that could take him to the top. And I'm telling you right now, as much as I would love to see David Benavidez and Ben Whittaker in the same ring, Ben Whittaker would shit his fucking pants.
He said, I'll fight David Benavidez on my own time. Well,
yeah.
Be in 5 years.
Yeah, 100%. This is always a problem, isn't it? When you see these young prospects coming up and everybody's like, fight these guys now. Everybody talks about it with Moses Saitama. Fight these guys now. Why? Are we going to burn them out? Is that what happened with Canelo? Is that what happened with Mayweather? Certainly isn't what happened in the heavyweight division with anybody. Mike Tyson, the guy that everybody out there talks about being the greatest heavyweight of all time, and who would win between Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, and blah, 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 blah. Neither one of those fucking guys are in my conversation. But you constantly say he's the greatest of all time, and his record is padded. Like that first bra you stuck your hand in junior high. Padded. You idiots. So why do we keep doing it, Steve? Why?
It's the business of boxing, this. And, when there's so much money at stake and you put money into a young boxer, it's a minus and plus situation. It's a calculation, and you have to do that. I have to just say, though, I know it sounds like I'm shitting on Eddie Hearn again, but there is a massive difference between, as you said, Moses Itama. He needs to be taken a bit further. So who does Frank give him? Jermaine Franklin, right? So that's a good fight. That is a fight that makes you think, that's tough. I mean, I think that Itama will come through, but it's tough. That's the difference between a Moses Itama and Eddie Hearn saying, I'll give you someone who falls over.
Because eventually you can see Moses Itama, Jamie TKV on the BBC, and Eddie would lose his fucking mind. He would. He would. Now, while Ben Whittaker is knocking somebody out in one round, somebody out there, one of y'all's y'all. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Britain, right now. And I hold you responsible, Steve. Thought that it'd be a good idea because you just got done watching some documentary on, back in Hollywood, these young kids that were breaking into actors and actresses' homes while they were away on set, and you seen them at the award shows. This is exactly what happened to Ben Whittaker. Somebody breaks into his house and takes his IBF belt. What the what are you going to do with that? I mean, a serious collector, that's about it. And then it can never see the light of day until it's actually found. None of you kids, this wasn't done by any kind of mafia schemed, sorry, they don't exist, but any kind of like, nefarious criminal. This was kids broke into his house and now they're stuck with this belt. And that's going to be the thing that gets them busted. But this is what happens. Steve, you ever had your house broken into?
Yes.
Did you ever get your stuff back?
Never.
Oh.
Never.
We did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. We had our house broken into one time, and all of a sudden, my mom had to go down and fill out the proper paperwork and stuff like that. This was taken, and then the police who busted these people, and they had all of this stuff, and they were like, "Hey, this matches up the address." So they call us up, and they're like, "Can you come down and identify some of this stuff?" And sure, she goes down there and identifies this stuff, and they give us our stuff back and take it back. One of the things that she brings back to the house, are you ready for this, Steve? Is this metal tin, because this is what old women have, right? And my mom wasn't old at the time, but her grandmother had this metal tin, like an old tea tin or something like that. And she had bobby pins. All of her hairpins were stuck in this metal tin. And that was part of the thing. And boom, they give it back along with all of this other stuff. And we get back to the house and she opens this thing up and the bobby pins are gone. And inside of this thing is baggies of 1/8 ounce and 1/4 ounce baggies of marijuana already stuffed and ready to be sold in this thing. And the cops gave it back to her. It wasn't hers. It belonged to the criminals. And the cops didn't even check this thing when they packed it up and found all of this stuff. So getting robbed can be great. I'm just saying sometimes.
I mean, it usually isn't. That's a story in a million. It usually isn't. But the thing, who's going to fucking well fence this belt?
I know who will. Ben Shalom. That'd be the first person I'd be calling with this thing, saying, "Hey, Ben, you really want to get under Eddie's skin?"
You could do videos with the belt and say, "If you want the belt back, Eddie, you'll have to do business with me and Dave Allen." Not that we are laughing at being broken into, because that's a terrible thing.
No, that sucks. And I mean, Ben Whittaker's offered up. He's put a video out there. You can check it out, and a big reward and stuff like that. And it's not even, I mean, the belt's the belt. The IBF could give him another fucking belt or anything like that, but it's this one. It's the sentimental value of the things that he's lost. And you're a real scumbag for going out there and doing this to somebody, knowing full well what it is, who it is, and what you're doing. So, I mean, I hope you get caught, and I hope you get your 5 minutes of fame of when they catch you. And I hope kind of partially that this gets handled in an old school way. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. Now, since we've kind of alluded to all of this, before we go, let's get into it. I picked this guy apart a bit. Why do you think that Ben Shalom is living rent-free, or is he, in the heads of the guys over at Matchroom in Frank Smith, and more importantly, a 50-year-old, no, I'm not, I'm 46, Eddie Hearn? What kind of white cabriolet girl with a scarf bullshit kind of answer? I'm not 50. Shut up, Eddie. Come on. I'm 46. I'll have you know. You're the same kind of guy that has a birthday week and celebrates it by a birthday week with the rest of your girlfriends. You sissy. Anyways, why? Do you think this is happening? What's he going to do? Steve, mention my name? Shut up.
It is happening. I don't know why, because I mean, what's happened is this, that Eddie Hearn, I mentioned this and it just got big. I do believe people are looking in, because it just got bigger and bigger. So Eddie Hearn mentioned, I think he was interviewed by the Stomping Ground podcast. I won't leave that alone, Titster. I won't leave that alone. And he said, he's irrelevant. Words to the effect of, he's irrelevant. Later on in the conversation, he said, I would be a very small man if I was bothered about him. But before he said that, he'd already said, well, we have stolen his greatest talent. Words to that effect.
Mhm.
Now, then Frank Smith, one of the head honchos of Matchroom, said something to the effect of, because he was I think it was IFL, and they were talking about will there be a trilogy between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr.
Right.
And he could have just said, either, my belief is they won't, my belief is they will. He went on to say that, but he first of all said, apropos of nothing, he wasn't asked, I don't think, does Ben Shalom actually speak for or does he actually do any business with Chris Eubank Jr.? Chris Eubank Jr. doesn't want him to speak for him. So that led Ben Shalom, who's usually very quiet. Now, we have seen in the past, and this has been on YouTube as well, Eddie Hearn offering his hand as Ben Shalom passed him, and Ben Shalom just walking straight past and blanking him, which Eddie didn't like. Made light of it, but clearly didn't like it. But Ben Shalom doesn't usually get involved in this, and he was interviewed again by IFL, I think, and he said, well, I'm not really bothered about it. I've got a very thick skin. We're doing something else. We're doing something different. And Eddie Hearn works for his dad, and he's 50 years old. And at my age, he's in his mid-20s, isn't he? At my age, he hadn't even got started. And I've already done all of these, 100 shows, I think he said. So that made Eddie Hearn come back and say, I'm 46. And yes, I mean, he made a good point first, which is, yes, I do work for my dad and with my dad. And even when my dad passes, I'll still work for my dad, because he created this huge sporting organization.
Sure.
But then, and this is after the Boxer BBC show, that's important, I think. Frank Smith doubled down on this and said words to the effect of, he's vile, he's a pathological liar, I can't wait to see him out of boxing. See you soon, Ben boy. And there was no reason for that. I think this is to do with BBC and the cachet of the BBC. And I think it's to do with Boxer having a better show than the DAZN show, I think. And it's also to do with, and I checked this earlier, Boxer having, for instance, more Facebook followers than Matchroom Boxing. Things like that. Quietly, he's building stuff up. And I just think that it makes Ben Shalom look great, because Matchroom are much bigger than Boxer, supposedly. But they shouldn't need to do that, should they?
Well, I don't know. If you are the old lion in the pride and the young lion comes along, is it not natural to try to kill that young lion before they take over what you think you built on the blood, sweat, and tears of the fighters? Not yourself. All you did was talk people into supplying a shit ton of money so that these guys could fight for your pleasure and ours, of course. And you're getting mad because the young guy is coming in and doing things at a faster rate than you did. And you don't like that. I think maybe someplace also possibly could be that, what if behind the scenes, this young guy is making these talks with these other upstarts that are very much in tune with the magic pot of money that everybody's trying to feed off of. And the old guard is like, they're at this watering hole of money, right? And they've been there, and all of a sudden this new thing, this new sexy girl kind of comes walking up to the owner of the watering hole and says, hey, you'd like to get yourself a little bit of something of this young stuff, right? Younger stuff, let's say. And the old pride is like, no, we got to get rid of this. So they do what they can to shit talk, to gossip, to spread rumors, to just blatantly, misinformation and fake news about the younger, hotter prospects coming along to get into that pond.
Yes, I take your point entirely. I'm going to make another point in a minute, but I just want to say, are you saying that Ben Shalom is a sexy girl?
Compared to Eddie Hearn?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie's 50. So,
I mean, he's lost his luster.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. When you get to 50, I mean, 46, you can still do, you're still attractive, but at 50,
you got time. I mean,
Yeah.
4 years, that's longer than what COVID was around for. You got plenty of time.
Oh,
Demi Moore just did a movie about all of this. If you're ever interested or whatever, what it's like to get old and still try to lose your luster like that. So maybe Eddie's been watching that, when we start, you know what's going to happen. We're going to start to see Eddie Hearn look more like Simon Cowell. That's going to be the telltale.
Do you think that Eddie will start washing his blood like Simon Cowell is alleged to have done? I don't know how he's washing. I don't know whether he puts it in a bowl and does that with a bit of Drano, or
he heads over to Lance Armstrong's house. Is what he does. He has a whole machine in the garage, I hear.
Why would he do that? What, to wash his clothes? You mean? I don't understand what you're talking about. Yes. I don't understand at all.
It's a blood washing machine that they have here. You haven't heard about this? The Illuminati has all of this stuff, Steve. Oh, I'm sorry, they don't exist either. Anyways, back to the world of boxing. And do you think we got derailed? Do you think that this is going to come down to? I mean, are we going to get to see a celebrity boxing event at some point? Maybe DAZN and Misfits Boxing could put this whole thing together and see a celebrity boxing event on BBC too. I mean, that's the only way to settle it. Ben Shalom has to come out and say the only way to settle this, Eddie, is either I fight you or I fight Frank, and you guys pick. And Eddie's going to say it's going to be him because he's the much larger man, right?
So Ben Boom Boom Shalom and Eddie Fit at 50 Hearn.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Eddie the Iron Eagle Hearn. Yes.
Can I just say that you make a very good point about promoters coming in and young promoters and all of that. It is, and I know that Jake Paul had to make this choice because there was no other choice. But Ed, if you're Eddie Hearn, are you thinking, well, he's a young gun who's a boxer promoter, and I'm not really into that, or I'm worried that he's a young gun. This could stop that completely. So it's a win. I mean, unless Anthony Joshua rumbles up or just wanders around the ring like Frankenstein's monster, which I suspect he will. If it goes the way that Eddie Hearn wants it to go, he's neutralized Jake Paul.
1,000%. But if you neutralize Jake Paul, you know what else you neutralize, Eddie? That pond of gold. Because you're not going to be able to sit at the table as you'll be sitting at the kids' table or the old folks' table, as it were. You know what I mean? The people over 50, while the young guns of Jake Paul, Ben Shalom, Dana White, and His Excellency are all sitting with the giant feast in front of them. I see this happening. I still see this happening. All things are pointing. All of the rivers are all heading in the same direction right now, Steve. We called this a long time ago, and everything is slowly being put into place.
Yes, and what Eddie Hearn says about the BBC deal is that we got the tender and there wasn't enough money. It's not about money. This is not about money. No. This is about the cachet of doing that. And he did it remarkably well. Boxer looked great. So that's about the cachet of going to other people and saying, I want to be at your table because I got the BBC backing me. And you know how good that is. And people do still like the BBC. There's a lot of people in this country think they're pinto commies and all of that. But, elsewhere, people like the BBC. That's the important thing. I think that really rankles with Eddie and with Frank. I really think it does.
It does. It does, because it gives Ben Shalom the this is my country and my country is behind me. And you've left your country, Eddie, because you're looking out to make that America money now, right? You're over there doing that, right? That's really what it is. And Eddie's, it's like, I'm still very British, and this is still mine. It's like, okay, cool. You go do you. I'll catch it on the flip side. No problem. You keep doing what you think you're doing. And that's fantastic. Listen, I'm here for all of it. I hope that one day we can see spitting image versions of both of them, fighting one another like Chris Eubank Sr. and Frank Bruno once so famously did on that television show. I missed that show. From so long ago. Speaking of long ago, before we go, did you know that it was 45 years ago this day or this week, as you were, depending on when you're listening to this, that the famous words "no mas" were uttered from Roberto Duran to Sugar Ray Leonard, that caused Roberto Duran to go back to his hometown, to vandalism, to people thinking that he was less of a man, right? Because you lost a fight to Sugar Ray Leonard. There is no problem with that. Roberto Duran's still one of the greatest legends of all time. And if that wasn't enough, Steve, 69 years ago, Floyd Patterson becomes heavyweight champion by beating Archie Moore. That's right, 160 wins to 20 losses, Archie Moore, 69 years ago. So boxing has been putting mismatches together for 70 freaking years, Steve, and I think it's going to happen for another 70 more. And hopefully somebody will pull these up on YouTube and remember that we said it. So what's going on over at World Weary Guy 1? I kind of know.
Wrestling, rock, pop, books, films, TV, boxing. All of this is covered on Steve Swift's Rambling Reviews. I am he, Steve Swift, a UK guy. What you get is all of that, and a funny voice, and even a funnier face. See? Steve Swift's Rambling Reviews. Come to me. I've got a review. Just for you. Ta-ta.
So what are we getting this week, my brother?
Well, today, I've done a load of boxing, of course, but today, one thing I will be looking at is the re-release, and a deluxe re-release, and I was very glad to do this for one of the magazines I wrote for, so I'd listened to it probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, of The Darkness's second album, One Way Ticket to Hell and Back, which I absolutely love, but everybody else in the world hates. And it's about time that people, it's not just panpipes. There are panpipes in there, but it's not just panpipes. Right. And it's come out with a load of demos, which are not great, but a live set. And it's time, and that's brilliant. And it's time the album was reappraised because it's just freaking brilliant.
Well, all right. So there you have it, everybody. Put on your skinny jeans and listen to that review of The Darkness because, Steve is good at what he does, my man. Steve, it is always a pleasure every single week, every time we are up against it. So for those of you, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening to this on all of your podcast providers. As each and every week, we try to remind people.
Come to the children. Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
And if other than that, you know what you got to do. Tuck your chin.